This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, and our main website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. X-Zone Nation, we're going to be speaking to our Scott Lemriel this hour. We're going to be talking to him about the Say-Rays agenda. Now, after 40 years of extensive experimental research into the UFO and extraterrestrial phenomenon, and via numerous conscious out-of-body travel and bi-location explorations into parallel and higher dimensional realities, as well as from journeys along the past and future time track, Scott has finally put forth the Say-Rays Agenda book from among 4 completed book manuscripts. This is his second published work. His first publication came out about after he sent a very special document he wrote to a dear woman friend for her benefit. Soon after this, he received a request from a European publisher asking if this very special document about the discovery of new uplifting transforming energy, or ray, could be published as the last culminating chapter of her about-to-be-published autobiography titled The Venusian Trilogy. Very shortly after giving permission, Scott accepted a contract from Page Publishing in New York to publish the Say-Rays Agenda. Joining me now is our Scott Lemriel. And Scott, welcome to the X-Zone.
Pleasure to be here.
Scott, where does your interest in UFOs and extraterrestrials come from?
Comes from my childhood, Rob. It really happened when I was 5. It started in Utah, where I grew up near Salt Lake. Mm-hmm. I was walking up the steps to my parents' brick house, and they were having a normal human argument. And I could see their auras, and there was a red energy between them. It's just a normal human argument, not violent. And the rays coming from that were painful to me, and it caused me to leave my body and hover above it. And I discovered that I was a mature adult, mm-hmm. and I was looking up into a sphere of energy. And in this sphere of energy were geometric formulas and the positions of the star patterns, and I knew where I was, and the only thing I could think of was, Earth, what am I doing on Earth? That's where this started, and that's pretty profound for a 5-year-old. And that compelled me to go back in that body, and many years later, I was living in Washington State near Mount Rainier, not far from there, in a place called Cherry Crest. Yeah. And like any child who's interested in what their parents are doing, I wondered what this fascination was with beer. So I decided to get up, sneak up, 3 o'clock in the morning, go in the fridge, grab a can of my dad's beer, and sneak out the bedroom window, go across the lawn up to this narrow roadway up in the forested area that had a beautiful view of the night sky. Mm-hmm. And I popped this can of beer, and the next thing I knew, I was flat on my back, spread eagle, with this can of beer open in my hand, unspilled. And I was looking up above this telephone pole about 50 feet, and there was a disc-shaped craft pulsating from blue to white light, no sound. And I experienced immediately that whoever was on board was human, very benevolent, and I had none of the negative experiences that so many people have had with UFO abductions. And I started to experience a telepathic kind of download or exchange between this being and myself. That went on for maybe 15 minutes. And then the craft just started pulsing from blue to white light faster and faster and faster until it shot straight up into space. Now I got up, dumped the bear can out, put it in the trash, climbed in the bedroom window, went to sleep, never told anyone. I never told a soul. About a week later, I was coming home from a choir practice at about dusk. And this bus would drop us off at a little wooden shed. Actually, it was just myself. It would drive a couple miles up the hill, drop me off, and then I'd watch it till it disappeared in the trees a couple miles below. I took another step, and my head got pulled up by some benevolent force. And I was looking up in the sky, maybe at 5,000 feet, 10,000 feet, two groups of the same type of craft I'd experienced a week earlier in triangular formations, two of them. They broke apart and they did all kinds of the dance through the sky, showed me what they could do, regrouped, and then just tilted towards me and shot up into space. The same kind of experience I had earlier of benevolent beings aboard those craft, and no fear, and some kind of telepathic communication. Then I just walked home and I told no one. This was decades ago,
Wow.
so probably a good thing I never told anyone at the time, my parents or anything else. This was at a time when there were many, many sightings of UFOs around the planet, particularly about Mount Rainier.
All right, stand by, Scott. You and I have to take our first commercial break. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
No problem.
Exonation, our guest this hour is Scott Lemriel. He is the gentleman behind the Say-Rays agenda, and his website is www.paralleltime.com. And Scott and I will be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as the X-Zone continues, right here from our broadcast center and around the world on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. My name is Rob McConnell. This is a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And Scott and I will be back talking about extraterrestrials, UFOs, and much more on the other side of this 2-minute break. Don't go away. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, aguidinglight, spelled LITE.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
Exonation, we're talking about the Sayres agenda. Scott Lemriel is our special guest. He's the author. His website is www.paralleltime.com. That's www.paralleltime.com. All right, Scott, sorry we had to cut you off during the middle of your story. So if you'd like to pick it up.
No. That's fine.
So if you'd like to continue it.
Yeah, I just finished this last statement about not speaking to anyone about my extraterrestrial experiences. There were, of course, many more and more profound ones throughout my life. We don't have time to go into all of them here, but this is what started me on my journey to exploring, in particular, purposefully hidden truth. This is the way I came out of these experiences. I was driven to find out what I could in exploring purposefully or suppressed hidden truth through direct experience, so that one day I could do what I'm doing now, and that's not only share with people what's revealed in the book, but a way they can access it for themselves safely.
Let me ask you, Scott, where are these visitors from?
The Sayres, speaking of the Sayres?
Yes.
Okay. The Sayres are human. We have the same DNA that they have. Mm-hmm. They're very tall. They're anywhere from 18 to 25 feet tall. They were the fathering or sponsoring benefactors of ancient Lemuria and many other cultures that go back in the history of this planet people know nothing about. When the last dinosaurs went extinct more than 55 million years ago, this planet has been capable of supporting human life, and there's a history here that's missing, entirely missing from the consciousness of people here who live on their own planet. The Sayres basically brought into existence many sentient, benevolent beings, human, humanoid, and other races, animal and plant life, placed them on many worlds and vanished over 1 billion years ago. Recently, and which is why I wrote this book, they announced they have gone through a consciousness change, and they've realized they need to be more responsible for overseeing some of the younger races, and have decided to return. That return was first announced through a huge organization of world systems. This is going to be hard for people to understand because they're being deprived any of this knowledge here on purpose. But there's over 450 million highly evolved, benevolent spacefaring races in just 1/4 of our Milky Way galaxy alone. And they are comprised of a benevolent organization called the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. There are a few totalitarian races out there, make no mistake about that. And they have, and we'll get into that, how they gain some influential control on this planet and what's about to be done about it.
So why don't they just show themselves, get it over with, and say, all right, guys, we planted you here, we're responsible, we're here to set the record straight, we're going to help you clean up the mess that you've created because we're going to take responsibility for this as good parents should?
Yeah, that's a great question. The reason is simple. It has to do with what happened after World War II under President Eisenhower, because what people don't know is he first met with benevolent beings out at Edwards, and it scared him. I mean, think about this guy. Comes out of World War II as a 5-star general, has control of nuclear weapons, and suddenly realizes there's beings from other worlds who want to meet with him, particularly because we were setting off hydrogen and nuclear bombs.
Right.
They are outlawed off this planet. Out in space, they're outlawed. They don't even make imbalanced isotopes or radioactive materials. Their ships aren't powered that way. There's no constructive use for them whatsoever.
I would imagine due to their evolution and due to their superior knowledge of science, physics, and everything else, that, you know, radiation or radioactive material to them is poo-poo.
It's child's play.
Yeah.
One thing I want to state right away about how they are already intervening, the reason I'll get into why they don't show up just yet, doesn't mean they aren't with some people, they're just not on a worldwide basis yet. The reason is because of who has broken an off-world treaty, a totalitarian extraterrestrial group that has gained influential control over the military-industrial complexes of this planet. That's the worst problem.